Welcome to the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. Here we chat to some of today's best small business leaders, individuals who are shaking up their industry and dominating their niche. The show tackles all things business growth, from strategy, marketing and branding, and delves into the secrets of what it takes to dominate your niche. The aim of this podcast is to empower founders with big dreams, small and micro businesses, and even solopreneurs who are looking to make a big impact. People who are hungry to learn from those who have gone before them and implement that knowledge to next level in their own business. So welcome, lean in, and then go take action to propel yourself towards dominating your niche in your small business. Welcome to the latest episode of the Dominate Your Niche podcast with me, Ruth Ferreira. Today, I'm excited to introduce you to Kieran Osborne, founder of Squiggle Consult, who is widely recognised as shaking up the estate planning industry. He spent over a decade challenging the traditional approach to estate planning and introducing innovative solutions. A load of gold in this podcast, and themes include finding your next 1,000 clients. Yes, you heard me right. Strategic growth, investing in assets to fuel that growth, the client journey, and very interestingly, the team journey, the power of a standout brand, and the value of a coach or mentor. Amazing episode, so much gold here. I can't wait for you to listen. Hi, Kieran. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Good morning. How are you doing?
Good. Great to have you here. So, Kieran, you run one of the most successful local will writing companies that I am aware of. And in the 2 years that I have known of you, you have expanded significantly. So what I'd like to know is tell me about your journey. How did you come to run this business? How did you end up here?
Sure. So I spent 6 years in banking previously. I was a business manager going out to see SMEs across the Sussex coast. And I think I learned a lot of things then when I met with different businesses about kind of growing a business. And it was really interesting, actually, because I was lending to those businesses. That was my job. And I had no idea about business yet. Here I was in charge of the bank's money to lend it out. But anyway, I digress, is that I learned a lot then about what I was doing. And when I got made redundant from the bankers, they forgot about client service and decided to send everyone to digital banking. And remove that bank manager element, which is what I enjoyed so much, because that was about building relationships. So when I got offered an opportunity to work within an existing accountancy practice, offering, they wanted to expand into legal services. They wanted to build me up as a relationship manager to be able to offer those services. So they put me through all the training to be able to offer estate planning services. But with that bank manager model of you have that point of contact and that relationship with someone, and it's not someone that you just kind of forget about. You re-engage every year or every 6 months or whatever it may be. And that's kind of that same methodology I've applied to the legal industry, which is often fragmented and very transactional. I wanted to offer that bank manager model that the banks ditched, which I thought was great, to my company. And I think that's probably why we've grown so much, is that we've got consultants out in the local community building relationships with people, which is that old school bank manager model that everyone enjoyed.
Love it. And it's obviously working very well. So how did you get from there to starting your own business? Because that's, a bit of a leap for some. Not everyone does that. Not everyone makes that move.
Yeah, so when I worked for the accountancy practice who trained me up, and we still work with them now, but I was just an employee of theirs at the time. And after 6 months, the idea was they were going to give me the clients. And after 6 months, they ran out of clients to give me. So I was like, right, okay, what now? And they said, well, go and get your own. And I'm like, well, hang on, I'm already doing the client bit. So now I've got to find my own clients. I'm pretty much running my own business here. So that's exactly what I did. I had my first contract already then. And then I also had been working on another contract because I don't know, call it lazy or strategic. I don't know which one. But I've always been very much not looking for my next one client or even my next 5 clients. I'm always looking for my next 100 clients, my next 1,000 clients. So therefore, what I managed to do is get a few contracts in place that, whilst clients are always finding your next clients is always a worry, I wasn't worried about my next couple of weeks. I was actually more thinking, right, where am I going to find my clients in 6 months' time?
Oh my
Which is a
God,
nice position to be in.
I love this approach. Tell me more about that. So if you're willing,
Yeah.
how did you go about finding your next 1,000 clients? I feel like this is going to be the title of this podcast, by the way.
So it's and BNI has this thing of power teams. So I do exactly that. So before I understood what a power team was, I was finding my power team. In that, so we work with probably about 150 financial advisors now.
Mm-hmm. I have
Um,
recently introduced someone to your company, actually.
oh, really? Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
So we work with lots of financial advisors, which are a great source of clients for us, and vice versa. We support them as well.
Yeah, of course.
But so that's probably where we would find our next maybe 50 clients, something along
Mm-hmm.
those, the financial advisors. But then what I found as a business that we were great, we had all these clients coming from financial advisors, but they wanted support as well, us giving back clients back. Now we couldn't give them any clients back because they were all coming from financial advisors. So there was a huge problem I had, and I wanted to find my next 1,000 clients. So therefore we started working with employers and charities.
Love it.
Charities want to raise money as quickly as possible and sustainably as possible. So a lot of charities, a third of their income comes from legacy giving, which is where you give a donation in your will.
Yeah.
Which is a huge source of income for them. So there are a lot of small charities that can't afford to set up a legacy giving campaign to be able to get their donors to leave gifts in their will. So we provide that free of charge for them.
So I love that you've literally, like, you've thought so much beyond what a traditional will writer would even consider.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love that you've really thought like the CEO. That's been extremely strategic. I didn't actually know any of this.
Yeah.
So very impressed. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you. But that's how we try and find our next 1,000 clients.
Love it. And you've done quite well expanding your team as well, from what I can see.
Yes, that's probably the hardest part of it, if I'm honest. The clients are hard, but I would say staff and consultants is even harder. We're currently recruiting for someone at the moment, and in my opinion, and I'm not sure how PC this is, but the whole interview process of recruiting people is such a farce. Because you can just say or do whatever you want for half an hour. You can act.
Mm-hmm.
But then actually, once they're then employed on the books, it all goes to pot, for example. Fortunately, we haven't had that too much, but it's one of those things is that you've got to employ someone, and bearing in mind that employment law is so strict,
Yeah.
you've got to commit to that person after, yeah, maybe you do 2 interviews or even 3. It's still not much to make such a commitment to someone that actually once you employ someone, it's really hard to get rid of. So I think one of the things that we've done is we've always bought employed blank canvases. So we don't actually, I've made a stand, we don't employ from within the industry.
Interesting.
We want completely blank canvases so we can train them our way. And that seems to work fairly well because you can teach the legal aspects and you can teach clauses and so forth. But what you can't teach is people skills.
Yeah,
You're either easy to
100%.
get on with or you're not. So that's what we try and find. And I mean, I'm told I'm not allowed to do this, but I would rather interview by let's go for a beer and have a chat.
Yes,
Because,
I was actually going to say earlier, I
yeah.
tried to be PC, so I didn't. So I'm glad you've gone there. But the best thing to do to really get to know someone is to take them out for a drink and let them
Yeah,
relax a little bit.
yeah, exactly. Because ultimately, that's what I want them to do with our clients is relax and just have a conversation.
And has there been anyone that you have been like, I'm totally going to hire this person, taken them out for a drink and thought, oh, no, definitely not.
Yeah, yeah. I'm not going to say who.
I'm not going to ask. Not while
Definitely.
we're recording anyway.
No.
If you're looking to grow your business, I have something that may change your life. The Success Method course is for small business owners who would like to take their business and their profits to the next level. in the next 12 months. Click the link in the show notes to find out more. So Kieran, something I've been really impressed with in your business is your brand.
Mm-hmm.
How have you developed that? And did you get lucky, or has there been strategic input into it?
I've certainly made mistakes along the way. I was very vain when I first started, and we were called once Kieran Osborne Professional Services.
Oh, right.
And that's where I realized I wasn't good on brand. And I was more about, oh, look at me. But I quickly learned, I think after, I want to say 18 months, when it was no longer me anymore, and I'd employed my first consultant, I was like, well, hang on, this isn't going to work. And it was a client that came up with the idea of the name Squiggle. It was just they said, oh, do I sign it or do I squiggle here? And I was like, oh, well, we've been looking for a new name. And yeah, the conversation
And
kind
you
of
know what? It's an accidental name, but it's actually a really strong brand. Like I think Squiggle, like it really stands out from any other will writing company that I know.
Yeah.
And for those who don't know the brand, you've got very sort of vibrant, funky brand colors,
Yeah.
which I'm guessing isn't typical in your sector.
No, definitely not. And it's interesting actually, because we have some people kick back on that. And I've had a client come to me, oh, for probate, for example, and oh, my sister doesn't want to use you because of the brand.
Mm.
It's not very professional. And what happens is if someone does believe in it, just an inkling at the beginning, by the end of our process with that client, that journey, they're like, I get it. I get why you're called Squiggle. We are different. We want to be modern. We want to be vibrant. We don't want to have stuffy law offices that you feel that you've got to put a shirt and tie on to go and see a legal professional. We want it to be really friendly and inviting. And a bit like what Monzo have done to the banking industry is that they've or Starling, they've been a real fresh movement for the banking industry. And I think I'm trying to apply that same principle for our fragmented, old-fashioned and archaic legal industry.
I love it. It's quite bold to compare yourself to Starling or Monzo. You got some confidence there. I'm just winding you up.
Ambitious.
Ambitious. I like it. I like it. Okay, so I have actually used your services, and something I have been really impressed with are the brand assets you have, which you've clearly invested in. So it's a complicated concept. A lot of the wills concepts, they're not very easy to grasp, but you have a series of videos that you share that explain each of them extremely well.
Yeah.
Was that a big investment? Did it
Yeah.
take a while to get there?
I would say probably in comparison now, not so much. But when I first created them, yeah, it absolutely broke me. But for me, it was really, really important. For us, we're all about solution-based advice, not kind of flogging products and stuff. So for me, it's about finding out what's really, really important to a client, what's driven them to first of all meet with you, and then we talk about different life eventualities. So going back to those videos is that I find that there's voiceover on them. So for those that are listeners, they can listen to that aspect. And for those that are visual, which I am, I'm forever doing little drawings for clients over and above the videos that you can then learn that way as well. Also, I don't know if you've noticed, is the videos are around halfway through the process. So it also gives the client and our consultant a bit of a break.
I
Is
like
that
it.
you might get a bit bored of your consultant or like that conversation. It
I
just kind
didn't
of
get bored of
up a little.
mine. He's a sweetheart. I won't tell you said
Yeah,
that.
I don't know if that's the right way to say that about my staff, but it breaks that up.
Yeah, no, I like that. You're
Um,
a clever guy, aren't you, Kieran?
I like to
You like
test
to
out.
think so.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Okay.
yeah.
So something else I've noticed about your brand, and this is, I think, the first conversation was at a referral-based networking event. And am I right in thinking that all of your team, or almost all of your client-facing team, are out and about in referral-based networks?
Yeah, it's something that's part of our we when we recruit consultants, the client facing aspect, they go for a training academy with us, and part of our training academy is to get them into referral based groups, which is probably where a third of our business comes from. And for me, I think that's very, very important because again, it's about getting them out in the community. And for me, I learned a lot from those groups. So therefore, if my consultants can do the same, it's kind of rinse and repeat to a degree. So that's yeah, it's a huge plus for all aspects for business, but also growing a person and
Yeah,
getting them confident and building relationships.
I hear you. So everything that you're saying, I'm hearing investment, investment, investment. You have a freaking training academy. I love that.
Yeah.
Has there ever been any point in time where you're literally holding your breath and being like, I know we need to do this, and I'm really scared to like commit to the move in terms of business investments?
Um, I don't think so. I am a bit of a, when it comes to business, and we've just brought on actually an operations director to try and hold me back, is I'm a bit of a ballsy person, and
I was
I'm
going to
like,
say
right,
maverick. Is
yeah,
that the right word?
let's do this, and we'll work out how we're going to resource it, fund it, whatever it is afterwards. Which seems to have worked so far, but we've been dealing previously with modest numbers. We're now getting into a point where actually, yeah, me saying yes means it's going to cost the business, I don't know, £100,000, and I'm like, that's not a small amount of money to find.
Mm.
Before, when I first started, well, we need to find £500. Well, that's okay in business to go and try and find £500.
Yeah, but at the same time, it's comparable to the stage. So actually, there may have been more resistance to that £500 investment potentially than there is to the 100K investment now.
Yeah, I guess so. I just, yeah, I find that where I've learned lots and stuff, there is 100 different ideas that I want to do, and it's not possible to do all 100,
Yeah.
unless we go and get some investment from somewhere.
So how do you choose? What advice would you give to somebody who is in that position and they're trying to work out where to put their energy, both in terms of time and finance?
I think having either, without plugging yourself, Ruth, having a business coach or a mentor.
Well, I just like to note for the podcast, he doesn't use me, so
No, I don't. But yeah, having a mentor or a sounding board. So I've probably only actually taken government grants for business coaches. I don't actually have a business coach, but I've always had a sounding board, whether it's a
Mhm.
few business owner friends that are, some are behind me on my journey and some are in front of me on their journey. But then also there's some that are miles ahead, that are probably have had several successful businesses that have bought and sold and so forth. So it's just having those sounding boards, just to run things past. Because I've made plenty of mistakes in my time, a lot that I've kind of managed to kind of brush away to a degree. So on the outside world, it may look nice and glossy, but yeah, there's lots of errors and mistakes that I've made on and bad decisions that I've made in what the next thing I'm going to do is. But try and reducing those by having sounding boards around you.
I love that. And I am obviously a big fan of that. I run 3 masterminding groups now. Best advice, which came out of one of them literally this morning, was calm the fuck down. It's all good.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
sometimes that's just what you need to hear. There's a much bigger story that was not aimed at me, I should say, but one of the super high profile, phenomenal women that I work with, and I can't name any names. Okay, so what's the one thing you wish you'd known before you embarked on your business or leadership journey, whichever angle you want to take with this, because you do lead a big team.
What I would say probably a bit about profiling people. We did a bit of an exercise last year on profiling some of our consultants, our more successful and so consultants, to try and see if we can copy and paste effectively, and understanding that, I mean, there's lots of different ways that you can profile a person, whether it's based on colors. I've heard profiling them against dogs and all sorts.
Oh, I haven't
Um,
heard the dogs one.
yeah, yeah. Actually, that was a really conversation I had with another BNI member actually, but is around profiling and then understanding how you can deliver, whether it's training, coaching, management of different people around those profiles. I think that's really, really important. At the time when I probably started my business, I thought it was very blue sky thinking, probably above and beyond what I needed. but actually you can apply it to every level of business, in my opinion.
Love it. So if you could go back 20 years, have a beer with Kieran 20 years ago, what advice would you give yourself?
That's a very interesting question because I don't really know. I think probably pay better attention to educational aspects of it, because I'm very much, I run, and it's like, right, slow down, read everything, understand it, because then I probably wouldn't have wasted quite so much time and money over the years. So
Hindsight's a beautiful thing.
yeah, exactly. So I think that's probably kind of slow down and read a lot more, and yeah, understand things before running into different projects or jobs.
Amazing. And what advice would you give to those who they're starting out? They are maybe a couple of years into their business, they're solid, they're making good money, and they're looking to scale.
I think for me, I'm very process driven. So literally document all your processes. And if you don't have this sounds really harsh, but a conveyor belt effectively in your business as to what that client's going through, whether you want to call it a funnel, a conveyor belt, whatever it may be. But I think that's
Client
really
journey.
Yeah, client journey is a much nicer way of doing it. But in our business, we've got two. We've got the client journey, but then I've also, as you learned through the academy, a consultant journey about onboarding consultants and going through to help us scale. So yeah, so understand your client journey, but then what's going to help you build that client journey, what's going to be your people. So understand what journey those people are going to go on.
Sounds amazing. And I actually thought you were about to start talking ops, and I was like, man, you are dividing. Like, some people are literally gonna quit the podcast right at this moment, and others are going to be there like, he's talking my language. So I'm glad you didn't go down that route. Awesome. So thank you so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure. And actually, I think this is the longest conversation we've actually had. So yeah, really enjoyed it. Good to get to know you a bit. For our listeners who are looking to connect with you, what's the best place to do that?
So if you're looking to get hold of my business, which is squiggleconsult.co.uk, you'll see us there. But if you want to know more about kind of what I'm doing as a person, KieranOsborne.co.uk has got all the different brands that I'm part of and building.
Ooh, I want to check that out. I want to know what else you're doing, but we've got no time for that today. Kieran, thank you so much. All of that info is going to be in the show notes, and it's been a real pleasure.
Thank you very much, Ruth. Cheers.
Thank you for listening today. If you like what you hear, please hit subscribe and leave us a review. Even better, come connect with me, Ruth Ferreira, on LinkedIn and Instagram. I'd love to get to know you.